We were confident in our own arrogant way at Midway that we could win over any odds, whatever they might be.
The South Pacific, June 1942. An outnumbered U.S. Navy fights for survival at the Battle of Midway, one of many steps on the long, bloody road to Tokyo.
Everyone was willing to fight. If I was assigned to an attacking unit, I was happy. That's how I felt at the time.
December 7th, 1941. Much of American air power in the Pacific is destroyed in a few violent hours. Wake Island falls. The Philippines are overwhelmed. Singapore and Malaya go under. Japan is fully mobilized and confident of victory. It has 10 aircraft carriers in the Pacific. The Americans have only 3.
I look back with great bitterness about one big thing, and that is why. Why was this country so unprepared when the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor? Why? We had obsolescent aircraft. We were cannon fodder. We had to go out with pilots just out of flight training. Why were we so unprepared?
Luckily, the American carriers are at sea during the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor. And in the months to follow, carrier production increases dramatically. The flight decks and holds of these carriers are home to the pilots in the Pacific. The men who fly from carrier decks are a band of brothers, a special breed.
You build a camaraderie, I think, in carrier aviation that you will find no other place in the world. The carrier itself is your home. It's where you eat. It's where you sleep. You have your ready room. And then you have the sky, the flight deck in the sky. And you leave the carrier, you do your mission, you come back to it, and you come back home, really.
Regarding skill, the Japanese Navy pilots had regular flight training plus a special training. We practiced landing on and taking off from aircraft carriers. You simply had to be a more skillful pilot in order to do that.
The Battle of Midway, June 1942. Though outnumbered 10-1, America gambles what is left of her Pacific fleet. Codebreakers at Pearl Harbor reveal the positions of the Japanese force. The Americans will achieve total surprise and ambush the Japanese fleet.
The admiral and his staff put together a statement that we are headed for what is going to be the biggest carrier engagement of the war.
Our main unit was found earlier than we had expected at Midway. Contrary to our plan, the enemy did not attack our decoy unit at all. Instead, our main task force was severely attacked by the Americans. I saw a formation of 10 enemy torpedo bombers. We attacked them at a 90-degree angle. I shot at them, and in the end, only 3 remained. One of those remaining 3 planes launched a torpedo. It almost hit the head of our aircraft carrier. It missed the carrier, but it was so close.
To get into position to drop a torpedo is one of the most self-sacrificing enterprises you've ever thought of. You had to come in slow, level, and close. We lost as many people as you'd ever want to think of doing that.
Torpedo planes, they played their role. In other words, they drew the defenses down, and our dive bombers were free to make their attacks almost unmolested. And it wasn't planned that way, but the dive bombers, they won it, and the torpedo planes, the one that sacrificed.
The Battle of Midway proves almost suicidal for unescorted American torpedo bombers. Of 15 men in Squadron 8 from the USS Hornet, only one man, Ensign George Gay, survives. Commander Roger Maylay. During the Battle of Midway, he tries desperately to save the carrier Yorktown from an attack by a formation of Japanese dive bombers.
I had a couple of thousand feet of advantage, which is the way we like to have it. But I was too late, and I saw the first guy dive. The second pilot is one who got his hit, the first hit on Yorktown. I dived, and I managed to get one of them, but Yorktown had already been hit, and it ended up having to be abandoned and sunk that particular hit.
There were about 10 Zeros flying so close that I feared we would collide. Then a bullet hit the fuel tank and caught fire. I crashed into the sea. I looked around and saw 3 trails of smoke. Later, I heard that the smoke came from the Akaki and other bombed aircraft carriers.
The American gamble at Midway pays off. The Japanese lose 4 carriers, 300 planes, and 3,500 killed. Among those killed are the cream of their battle-hardened pilots.